Welcome to the Book Talk Babes podcast, where we will be discussing different book-related topics and occasionally specific books. This episode will contain explicit language and may contain spoilers, so please check the episode description for a list of books that were spoiled. My name is Ashley, and today I'm joined by my two lovely friends, Elaine.
Hello.
And Liana.
Hi.
Today's topic...
Yeah.
Okay, my little box didn't light up. I was worried for a second.
I heard you.
Yeah, I heard you.
Anyway, continue.
So today's topic is Bridgerton season 3. Now, Elaine and I haven't read the books, but
Okay.
Liana has.
I read the book based on author Julia Quinn's. What is the official name of that book? Hold on.
Isn't it Romancing Mr. Bridgerton or something?
Probably. Yeah.
I feel, and we can get into that more later, I feel like this was very much, because like Francesca, Penelope, and Eloise's stories all technically happen at the same time.
They do.
So I felt like that was what this season kind of reflected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people were complaining about the side stories. And I'm like, well, that's kind of how it is in the book. Like, we have concurrent timelines.
And I don't have a problem with that. I also think that it's a smart move on their part to do that, because Netflix notoriously cancels shows after 3 or 4 seasons. So, like, even though this is like one of the highest watched and highest rated shows, I don't think we'll get anything past season 4.
Yeah, because I'm just like, this is Bridgerton, though. This is a cash grab for them.
Yeah, no, but I still don't think any show that Netflix has like had start to finish has all like the longest running one was like the Frankie and something, and it was like 7 seasons.
Grace and Frankie. You know what I don't get? Netflix. How you can just cancel all these good shows after 1 or 2 seasons, but you won't cancel The Witcher after Henry Cavill left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could have ended with that season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is true.
I'm upset.
I'm okay. I don't think he looks that bad.
Yeah. Also, I looked at my, I read books 2, 4, and 6 of the Bridgerton series. The Viscount Who Loved Me, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and then Francesca's story when he was wicked.
Okay.
Which will now be when she was wicked, I guess.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, I guess, okay, whoever is listening to this, if you haven't watched Bridgerton, this is going to obviously have every spoiler you can think of.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how they're going to do that. And I know what's interesting. So like the podcast I listen to, Bridgerton Bros, they obviously haven't read the books. So people that haven't read the books that don't know that like Francesca's story actually is, John passing away and then her being with his cousin Michael. Some people didn't catch on to like the significance of the cousin showing up at the end.
Yeah.
And being introduced. So like if you didn't know that was part of the storyline, people were just like, okay, whatever.
Everyone blew up online like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I am curious to see I saw someone say something about like how they're wondering how that's going to play out, because like if John dies, like the title doesn't go to his cousin if it's a female, So like how is this going to play out?
And then also we're like jumping way ahead
We are jumping way ahead. Yeah. Would you like to start?
Should we start at the beginning?
We can start back at the beginning. It's going to be a little tough for me to remember everything that happens in each episode because they split it up into 2 parts, and I binged the first part and then I binged the second part.
Yeah. I'll start. In the book, it's been like
it's like 11 years, right?
Yeah, it's been like a good 10 years since I think the Viscount Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
So Penelope
I
is
heard
like
that. Yeah.
in her late 20s.
Yeah.
And she's on the
Yeah.
shelf.
Yeah.
I heard that like she's a proper Spencer in the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she actually has a younger sister who they don't have on the show. I forgot her name. Starts with an F.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's actually pretty nice. And her younger sister is good friends with Francesca. But
okay.
Yeah, she's like in her late 20s. She's been Lady Whistledown for a decade now. And so it's just her and her mother living at the house. And she's like, much like we see here, she's like, screw it. Now that I'm a spinster, there's no expectations. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So she decides to give herself a makeover. And then and then there is the whole like finding a husband thing, and she enlists Colin's help. But like in the book, she's still pissed with him because of what he said about her. Like he would
never court her.
Never be with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they flashed back to that too. One thing I liked about the show is they didn't make Nicola lose weight.
Yeah, that was never going to happen.
Because in the book, Penelope does lose weight because she was like, I was this chubby, ugly thing. And I was like, excuse you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also, when did that book come out? Like, I feel like it was written for the time that it,
Yeah, I want to say early 2000s.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I think some of the critiques with this season is that nothing really happened. Like in the first season, Daphne and Simon do have some things they need to get through. And then second season, we had all the tension.
Yeah.
We like ate that up. But in this one, like nothing really happens. Like
I think the biggest drama is just like it focuses a lot on like Lady Whistledown and trying, and which and maybe you can clear this up, how it gets like outed in the show is nothing like how it gets figured out in the book. Like,
I honestly don't remember
how
it gets figured out in the book.
The Bridgerton Bros podcast, they have like the two women that come on that have read the books, and I'm pretty sure they were like, like Penelope, it's not as a big deal as like the show makes it out to be or whatever.
Yeah.
But that had to be like the big drama, I guess. Conflict.
I mean, Colin does find out after they've been married, and he is upset. And then there are people questioning him, like, do you really love Penelope? And he's like, yeah, I want to marry her. And they're like, really? And he does declare, I don't think he does it in the show. He openly declares his love for his wife at their ball. And he's like, I'm putting this all to rest. I love my wife. Like, get over it.
Aww.
And he doesn't do that in the show. We just have her sister going, Barley, the bugs.
I mean, I did kind of appreciate that, though. I know some people I saw someone criticize, like, oh, that would have been a great, like, moment for romance lovers for him to, like, go up there and stand by her and be by her side. And I was like, I took that from a different perspective of, like, her being like, I've got this. Please let me like handle this on my own. Like, I am a strong, independent woman kind of situation. Like, I need like she tells him, like, I just need you to love me, but I don't need you to like fight my battles for me.
Yeah.
So I liked that he afterwards was like, she's like, oh, you can get an annulment if you want. And he's like, no, what?
Yeah. So also in the book, Colin has like a rage problem.
Oh, interesting.
They didn't really show in the show.
Yeah, no, that I don't think that would have made him as lovable as they were trying to make him to be.
Yeah,
he has an anger problem in the book, and really like he doesn't like tear into Penelope, but when he finds out that she's whistled down, he really like yells at her.
That was a really emotional scene.
Yeah.
I feel like everything that happened in the first half of the season like was a lot of like setup stuff, obviously, for the second half. So I feel like not a lot like really, really crazy happens in that first half of the season. And then like everything happens in the second half.
Yeah.
Honestly, my biggest critique and my biggest problem is John Sterling should have had a friggin' Scottish accent.
Not all Scotsmen do.
Well, no, because I mean, the British monarchy, took the land from them and then put British nobles and whatnot. Yeah. But if I would have read that book, I'd have been like, oh, like he is a Scotsman. He's going to have a Scottish accent. I would have read that book as him having a Scottish accent because that's hotter than.
But I do think the actor that played him was very attractive.
Yes, no, he does a great job. The casting of this entire show is phenomenal.
Well, I have seen critiques though that Francesca has iPhone face, and I'm like, look, y'all.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
When you put actors in period dramas, but it's so obvious that their face doesn't fit with the time period. Like they say, like you can tell that person has seen an iPhone.
Okay, interesting. Oh. I've never heard that term, and that's weird.
Like people were saying that Florence Pugh in Little Women looked like she didn't belong there because of her face. Like her face was too contemporary.
Interesting.
I'm like, sure. I don't really. That's not really a concern of mine when I'm watching a theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, because in the book, like Francesca and John's love is it's so sweet.
Yeah.
It's just so precious, and they're so in love, and they're just so cute, and you're like, ugh, gross, but also like good for them.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know the showrunners had said like one of the characters is not going to end up with the person that they did in the book. And originally I thought maybe it was going to be Francesca. Like I thought they were going to have Francesca stay with John and not end up with the cousin. But then they introduced the cousin. So I'm like, okay, that theory's out the window. So now it has to be Eloise, because the man that Eloise is supposed to be with is the man that Marina Thompson's married to. And I think in the books, the character Marina Thompson was actually one of the Bridgerton cousins, not a Featherington cousin or something like that.
No, I have read that Marina was actually just written for the show.
Oh, is she? Okay. I thought I heard that she was related to the Bridgertons, not the Featheringtons. But I forget, like, so yeah, Eloise is supposed to end up with the guy that Marina Thompson had married. So I'm like, okay, well, that's obviously, it's going to be something different for Eloise. Maybe she'll find someone with a Scottish accent.
I heard that her story in the book isn't the greatest. They feel like someone said that they feel like they completely changed her personality in the book for her to like fall for this person. So like,
yeah.
Because of that, I'm like, oh, well then I would like them to change,
well, I think it ends up being one of those situations where she's been writing letters with that guy, and I guess his wife had died, so he has like kids, and she goes to stay with him or whatever. And then of course, like it's found out that like, oh, she's been staying, unchaperoned basically with this man. So they're like, oh, we have to get married. And I'm like, oh, okay. Great storyline. Haven't heard that one before.
But they also think was it the Kates? Is that what it's called? They're called?
The guy that Sharma? Oh wait.
Sharmers? No.
Sharma.
Yeah. No,
who are you talking about?
Marina marries the guy, whatever their names are. The Kents or something. I don't remember. But I heard that they are actually distant cousins to the Featheringtons, so they're like it's cool because Eloise ends up marrying into the family, kind of just
I see.
like
And then
Penelope marries into the family.
Got it.
That was another thing, is that in the book, I'm assuming it's Eloise's book, like she isn't in London when Penelope comes out as Whistledown. She's at that guy's estate and like finds out about it later. She's like,
also,
what?
Francesca is not in town when for Eloise's marriage, like either. Francesca and Michael get married in the Scottish countryside, and then they find out that Eloise is married, and they find out that Colin is married. So everyone's like, surprise, we're all married.
Right. Creative liberties have obviously been taken for the show.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I know there's been a... Oh. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, we're already there. Let's get into it. Michael, Michaela.
Oh, yeah.
I have no problem with a queer storyline. You know, our Benny boy, he...
Yeah, no, we do need to talk about that, though. That threesome lasted like days, based off the timeline.
Go for it. Like we all knew from season 1. We all knew.
Yeah.
But it, like, considering Francesca's book, I don't know how they're going to pull that off, because as we saw in this season, when Francesca kissed John at the altar, and then when she met Michaela, it's implied that Francesca could be, you know, persuaded away from John, because she made that look when she kissed John, and then she forgot her name when Michaela popped up, and like the whole, like, one of the big plot points in Francesca's book is this inner turmoil, because John was her first great love, and now she's developing feelings for Michael, who she's also falling for in a different way. And one of the things is like, well, it feels so much different from the way John did, and she starts to feel guilty because she's moving on and because it's his cousin. And so there's that whole thing. Also, like, Michael is the one who falls first. There's like this unrequited love, because Francesca is so in love with John. And then there's an underlying storyline of Francesca having infertility issues. Like, in the book, John dies, Francesca finds out she's pregnant, and then she miscarries. So it's just compounding on the grief.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, Michael does in a way try to like baby trap her, because they start sleeping together, and he's like, marry me, and she says no, and he's like, fine, I'll get you pregnant and you'll have to marry me. And she's like, good luck with that, I can't have kids.
Right, yeah, nice try.
But, you know, like, throughout the book, they do end up together, they get married, and then in the epilogue, I think it's been like 5 years or so, or 10 years or so. So she's like in her late 30s, and they do end up having 2 kids.
Jesus.
But, yeah, the queer thing isn't an issue. It's more like, how are they going to stay faithful to that plot if they intend to? And then I just also didn't like how they implied that Francesca fell first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I don't know the story because I didn't read the book yet, but I was curious, like, how that's all gonna play out. And it was very much, and like, I was talking to someone that also hasn't read the books, and I was like, because I knew like how her storyline kind of goes.
Yeah.
When, you know, they kiss at the wedding and she kind of has that like, oh, okay look. I was like, oh, okay. Like, maybe she's realized she doesn't necessarily love John as much as she thought she did. And then at the end, when the cousin shows up and she just has that like fucking dumbstruck, love at first sight kind of whatever. I was like, oh, okay. And then the person I was talking to, they were like, oh, I did not catch like the look after the kiss, or I didn't interpret it that way because I didn't know like whatever. And so it's interesting to know that she was so in love with John.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious how this is gonna, like, is John still gonna die, or is he gonna live and it's gonna be some weird like forbidden romance behind his back? Or
so John dies and Francesca tries to lean on Michael for support because they were like a trio. They were like all best friends together. Michael never tried anything. But she tries to lean on Michael for support because John died. She has a miscarriage. She's going through all this grief. She's like, I'm going to lean on my best friend over here. And then he runs away to India for 5 years.
Jeez.
Yeah. And she tries to contact him and he goes no contact. And then he just shows up to, inherit the title that John had, because Francesca, she's still unmarried. She doesn't have any heirs. And so she also has to figure out her life. And he just shows up and he's like, hey. And she's like, fuck you.
Yeah. Like, don't even try it, buddy.
Yeah. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, she's like, you left when I needed you most. Like, what the hell? So then there's a good bit of groveling on Michael's part.
Okay.
But yeah, and then of course he's like, I had to leave. It was too much, and I'm in love with you, and blah blah blah. And she's like, what?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how that all, especially now with like Eloise going with them.
Yeah.
To Scotland.
Like, at the end, Francesca and Michael go to John's grave and ask for his blessing.
Oh,
I know. I think Francesca is like, John, thank you for loving me, and Michael's like, thank you for letting me love her.
Oh,
I know, it's so good.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's all gonna play out.
Yeah,
I read somewhere, and I found it. Apparently, it was with Teen Vogue that the showrunner points out that Francesca's book is very much about her feeling different and not really knowing why. And so she saw that as like a good opportunity to explore that in a different way by making possibly her question, I guess, her sexuality in a way.
Okay.
And so
interesting.
And she wanted to like add, I don't know. She says that when she read Francesca's book, she identified with it as a queer woman, and so she's like, "Oh, I can probably use Francesca's story to kind of tell a queer story, so that way people can kind of relate. Okay. Queer fans can have like a book that they can relate to." So I think that's probably why they went that route of like Michaela instead of Michael.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see how all the plot points will play out, because making Michael Michaela really, especially considering the gender dynamics of that time period. Really
that was the concerns I heard about more, was just like, like if they do go with, John dying, like who does the title pass to? Because it can't pass to the cousin because she's not a male heir or whatever in the show. Yeah. So I'm curious. I am curious. I think, I don't know. I'd like to say, oh, I think they're going to do this, but I have no idea what the hell they're going to do.
Yeah.
There's no predicting this show.
Yeah.
But I am interested to see.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that sex scene between Colin and Penelope?
Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
What was that?
What do you mean? Elaborate.
I mean, it was not good.
It was a little awkward. I think for me personally, I think they have great chemistry as friends.
Yeah.
But every time something like sexual or romancy kind of happens, like I feel like their relationship as friends outside of the show, like shows through too much, you know, in my personal opinion.
And Daphne and Simon's first sex scene when he was like, "I burn for you," I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
And then when Anthony and Kate, finally go at it, because it's like this slow burn, and then they've like finally peaked, and there's this moment, and it's explosive. I'm like, yes, get it, girl. This one, even like in Queen Charlotte, it's like it's an even day. It's an even day. But then eventually they do start to like really like make it hot instead of just like
even their even day sex, they got real passionate into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one, I just was like, oh god. I wanted to look, I felt like I was intruding on a moment, and the moment was so awkward.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, even the carriage scene was kind of like, everyone was freaking out about that, and I was just like, oh, but I wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't. I was.
So,
I don't know.
In the book, he does like, do stuff to her in the carriage.
Yeah.
Like he basically like gets her like half naked.
Oh.
Yeah. Like her tits are out, her ass is out, and he's just like, he's going at it. And then, he does like walk in and say like, Penelope's and I are engaged, and everyone's like, what? And then when they, I think it's during their engagement, it's like the night before their wedding or something, and they like slip away, and it's a lot more like nice in the book. Like there's an actual bed. Colin uses his fingers and his mouth to make sure that she's ready. First of all, and he just really like is attentive to her, unlike in the show where it's like, ooh, I know she was not ready, because that looked like it hurt.
Right. What was that? I heard someone be like, he throws a little too hard for a first time.
Yeah. She was like,
ah! But I mean, also, I feel like I've read Regency romance books in particular, though, where, the guy's like, I'm going to do this first part real quick, and it's going to hurt, and it's going to be okay. And then, it kind of surprises the woman. So I get it. I get it. They did a good job, I think, with...
He should have done more.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
And you know how when we were talking about Everlasting, all you could think about was her running barefoot through the airport?
Mm-hmm.
All I could think about was, where have his hands been? I know he did not wash his hands prior to that.
Yeah.
That seems to be like a go-to move of his. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the best spicy scene of the show, that's for sure.
Well, Elaine, didn't you say they cut out a bunch of stuff?
Oh, I don't know if they cut out a bunch of stuff.
There was a TikTok that like came out that like someone said that there's like a whole bunch of like deleted scenes or something. And there was someone else that made a TikTok, which she makes a joke at the beginning of TikTok, like, oh, I know what people are going to say. I don't like, have a job. And I'm like, do you have a job? Because you rewatched the whole season timed supposedly like the screen time that like Colin and Penelope had. Like, it sounds like you don't have a job. No offense.
Sounds like you need stuff to do.
I think there was a lot of people I feel like that have been complaining that like it should have been more Colin and Penelope and less the side stories. But like, I love the side stories. I liked Violet and Marcus. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Francesca and John, Benedict, Tilly, and Paul. Now, granted, that weird threesome, or not weird, but the threesome, like, the way they did it in the timeline wasn't very good because it was like days were passing in the regular world and it just kept shooting back to like Benedict. And then I'm like, how long were you all in that bedroom?
There was like a Benedict scene and then a scene with his mother and then another Benedict scene.
Yeah,
So that scene with his mom was like bookended with 2 scenes. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an interesting.
I'm going back to like nothing really happens in the book. So I think because of the source material, they had to pad it with
put some filler.
Yeah.
You know, there's people, one of the TikToks that Elaine sent was that someone was saying that like that Colin and Penelope weren't the main focus because the showrunners, were probably thinking that a plus size character wouldn't be able to keep the tension for the entire season. And I totally disagree with that. I don't think that, one, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to pretend like I know what's going on in someone else's brain, that the showrunners or the writers or whatever. I personally still think that it has a lot to do with Netflix and the way that they fucking cancel shows, even if it is super popular. Like, I don't think we're going to get anything past season 4, like I already said. I think they're trying to have as many storylines as they can go, like, to try to wrap up as many of the books as they can. Like, I don't think we're going to get, like, Hyacinth and the fuck is his name? Gregory? Yeah. I don't think we're going to get their love stories. I think it's going to end with Eloise finding somebody, Francesca's story coming to some kind of end, and then Benedict. I think that's all. I think all 3 of those are going to get wrapped up in a season 4.
Yeah. Well, also, Nicola Coughlan is not plus size. She's regular.
Yeah. Like, I would say, like mid-size, I think is what I would classify her as if I had to.
Yeah. So
what was it? She said she's part of the perfect breast community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they appeared on screen, I was like, "Well done, Nicola.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yep.
Like, yep. Congratulations."
Have you seen that TikTok of them saying, like, can we have a moment of silence for Nicola's titties?
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. I was like, well, at least someone delivered on this season.
Right. I found it interesting also, that same TikTok complained about how there was a lot of like filler scenes of like the camera panning around and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's literally in every season. Every season they have a whole bunch of filler scenes, which the reason that they're doing that is because the fucking work that has been done on the set of this show is fucking beautiful. Every fucking dress, every little detail is phenomenal. Of course, they're going to pan around for a little bit to see everything.
A lot of shows have transition scenes. Like, that's a normal thing.
Yeah. I agree. I am curious. I heard Benedict's story doesn't he end up married to somebody that's like, she was part of the gentry, but like her family kind of like kicked her out or something. And she's like working to like survive or something like that.
It's supposed to be based on like a Cinderella. She becomes a maid.
Okay.
Offer from a gentleman.
So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with that, especially since at the end he basically tells Tilly like, I don't want to settle down now that I've got this, new perspective on life.
So, okay. Sophie, her name is Sophie. She sneaks into Lady Bridgerton's masquerade ball. And then starts dancing with Benedict. And then she... Oh, well, this doesn't say anything about it, really. Hold on. Okay, though the daughter of an earl, Sophie has been relegated to the role of servant by her disdainful stepmother.
Okay.
And then she goes to the ball to dance with Benedict. He does the whole, like, I have to find her thing.
Okay. Very Cinderella.
I think he offers her a carte blanche.
Okay.
Daughter of an earl, blah, blah, blah. Ever since that magical night, Benedict has been thinking of her and doesn't want anyone else. He doesn't know that she's the housemaid.
Okay.
So, like Cinderella, like the prince doesn't know Cinderella's a housemaid. And it says he feels compelled to rescue her from a most disagreeable situation. And he wants to wed the mystery woman, not knowing that it's her.
Okay.
I think at some people don't like Benedict's book because he's like, I'll still fuck you, but we can't get married.
So he's pulling an Anthony Bridgerton from season 1 with the opera singer.
I could be wrong. I'm sure we'll figure it out.
I'm gonna have to at some point read these books, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming the Violet and Marcus storyline is completely made up for the show.
Yeah, it is. It's made up. There are Bridgerton prequels. It has Violet and Edmund.
Yeah.
Edmund.
Okay.
But yeah, I am excited for Marcus. I thought that it would end up like Marcus is like actually there for nefarious reasons. I'm like, no.
That's what I thought at first too. They did a good job of setting that up.
Yeah. But then found out he's like, no, I'm just here and I'm lonely and I want to be in love again.
Yeah.
And then, he gets the thumbs up from Lady Danbury.
Yeah, his sister.
Yeah. Also, I felt so bad for him. Like, his sister has held that grudge against him since he was 10 years old.
Yeah, communication is a crazy concept. He didn't know any better. He just knew his sister was going to be trying to run away and be alone in the world.
Yeah, he's like, I was scared for you.
Yeah.
And then I think that's when she softens and she's like, "Aw, and I've been like a bitch to my little brother this whole time."
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought the world of you. I admired you. Like, you were my sister and I loved you. And I'm just like, "Aw, little baby."
Yeah.
But yes, Violet's garden is going to be plowed.
Yeah. I love like the awkwardness between them and whatnot. Like, Violet is so adorable.
Yeah, it's just so adorable.
I love that woman so much.
I want all good things for Violet because the things she needs to go through with those children.
Yeah, no thanks.
And she had to go alone.
Yeah.
I also heard in the book Violet's like plays matchmaker throughout the whole thing with her kids.
Oh, I believe it. I totally believe it.
Like, she's like telling Colin like you need to marry her to Penelope, and he's just like, what?
Because Violet sees that Penelope's been in love with her son forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also in Anthony's book, which they also changed for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Anthony's book, she's like, "Why are you pursuing Kate's sister when you're clearly into Kate?" And he's like, "What? That's ridiculous." And then Kate's sister Edwina tells Kate, she's like, because that bee scene in the show. Well, Anthony,
I've heard that was very different in the book.
Yes. So in the book, Anthony does panic.
Didn't she get stung on the chest though, right?
Yeah, she gets stung on the chest, and he puts his mouth on her to suck out the venom.
And then his mom, Danbury, and Featherington
catch them. And they're all just like, oh. And so, because they got caught, they have to get married.
Yeah.
And at some point, Kate tells her sister, she's like, "I'm so sorry. I know you wanted to marry him." And she's like, "No, I didn't. It was clear that you did."
Yeah.
It was clear that you did. her sister's like, I'm good. And actually, I think in the book, her sister orchestrates their meetings so she can be like, oh, Anthony, what are you doing here?
That's funny. That's cute.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was another big piece of like contention for the second season.
Well, the first wedding never is like a thing.
No, it's not. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like, Edwina never develops feelings for Anthony, and she fully supports Kate and Anthony being together.
They're also not from India.
No, but I did like that part.
I love that part.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
The second season, I think I like what's happening in the third season, but I think the second season might still be my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the show goes. I like the whole enemies to lovers. I like that, you know, she thought she was doing what was best for her family. I identify a lot, I feel like, with Kate, because I would have done the same kind of shit, you know, to protect my sister and help her be in good standing, and fuck those grandparents. Ugh.
Yeah.
I think that's why I love the bits of Kate and Anthony in this season so much.
This season.
They're adorable. I do think they kind of dropped off very suddenly because he's like, let's go to India. And I'm like, your whole family would have said goodbye to y'all. But like, they just never show them again.
Yeah. I just loved seeing Anthony so in love and relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he can finally relax because Kate is his wife and she just brings him peace. See, that's what happens when two older siblings get together. They take care of each other. Because they both know.
I also love that like Penelope and Eloise kind of like fix their relationship in the second half. Because there's like that scene with them like sitting on the couch with each other, and Eloise like, so what have you been reading? And I'm like,
yeah. Yes, I did like that too.
Also, Cressida.
I was gonna say we have to talk about Cressida.
Yes.
Friggin' idiot.
Cressida.
I do not feel bad for her.
I do.
I don't.
I do.
I mean, okay, I feel bad that she has a shitty like family life, but she did not. She's not unfortunately smart enough to outwit the situation she tried to put herself in.
Elaine, why do you feel bad for Cressida?
Well, yeah, because like her whole family, her family life sucks, and then it's just like she's trying to get out of it, and she's like finds ways, but they're not very great ways, you know. And it's just like, oh, she's so close to like finding a way out, and then it's just like so sad at the end too, how like everyone is like happy, has like this happy ending, and you just see her in a carriage like going off, and it's just like, oh, that's so sad. Like, yeah, she was mean, but like she had some character development being friends with Eloise, and I just like, but also I'm like, I think if she had maybe talked to like Colin about her situation,
well, she like Penelope, instead of trying to blackmail like, Penelope,
then like maybe. But also Penelope was willing to just pay her. She was just like, I have the money, I can just pay her. And then Colin was just like, oh, I ruined it because now she wants double.
Yeah, Colin ruined that. Big time.
Well, and why couldn't she be with Birdman? What's his name?
Yeah, that was my thing too. And I was just like, it's not going to work out between her and Penelope. Him and Penelope, so why couldn't she just go after him?
Oh, yeah, he kind of, he just dropped off the face of the planet.
Yeah, he just disappeared.
Oh, right. Debling. That's
Debling, yeah. Debling. Why the fuck wasn't he they could have easily worked him into the storyline to make that go differently.
I mean,
yeah.
We saw the spark between him and Cressida, and all she wanted to do was get away from her family.
Yeah.
And he, even if like she would be on his in his house, Or she could even like travel with him to be away from her family. Either way, it would work out for her. And like, I was like, oh my god. But there's no way Cressida would go to Penelope and be like, this is what's happening to me, because Cressida was trying to like maneuver. She really gets desperate to try to maneuver her way out of her situation.
Yeah. But her desperation makes her mean. Like, if she had approached that differently and been like, hey, I know that you're whistle down, like, can you help me out with like my reputation by writing something in your column or something? I think they really did not wrap up the Lord Debling storyline that well, in my opinion, because like he literally just leaves that ball and then you never hear about him again. Like, so what? He just gave up on trying to find a wife that season? He just went back home to plan for his trip? Like,
Penelope could have gone to him, let him down easy, and then been like, I mean, I guess a lot of talk would have had to happen between her and Cressida, but then been like, hey, there's Cressida.
Yeah, but they had the dramatic, he left because Colin showed up and was like, hey, I'm going to interrupt your dance. So like Colin didn't give Penelope a chance to let Debling down easy.
No. Oh yeah, Colin, get over yourself. He's so ugh. Like, he's such a dud. Like, I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. The actor I like, but the character, meh.
I don't hate him, but yeah, he's not. Like, he's not anything great.
I don't see how he gets your fires a burning. Like, I just don't see it.
It's that friends to lovers. They've known each other since they were kids.
Yeah, but I've read friends to lovers, and I'm like, yeah.
I agree. But yeah, I don't think Cressida tried to play with the big kids, and she was not ready.
Well, I think because like people were kind of calling her stupid too, and she's just like, you don't think I'm smart enough, and she's like, watch. And then I think in her desperation, she kind of like felt it back to her old personality of being like mean.
Well, I mean, what could Cressida do? Like, I could see that she was genuinely trying and was really impacted by Eloise's friendship, and but backed into a corner.
Yeah,
she had to resort to her old behavior because it worked for her in the past.
Yeah, but did it work for her in the past? She hasn't been picked up and been married. How many years? But
she had her like little clique, and
I guess.
She got desperate, so she had to figure things out.
Yeah, no, she definitely has a shitty family. Her aunt and her dad both suck.
Yeah.
Her mom's not that great either, but
I thought that when she went to her maid and was like, you have to help me, they were going to figure out a way for her to escape.
I thought so too. Yeah. Or like stay escape, not just like leave for a few hours or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I really wish there was like a reconciliation moment with Penelope. Or even like Eloise could have gone to Penelope because their relationship was improving. And Eloise could be like, I know you hate Cressida, but this is what she's going through. She needs your help. And I think even if Eloise approached Penelope, she would have been more inclined to maybe do something.
Yeah, that's possible.
Penelope knows what it's like for women out there.
Yeah, she does, but she also has personally been attacked by Cressida.
She's been personally victimized by Regina George.
Yeah, pretty much. I was literally thinking about that a second ago. I'm like, it's like Mean Girls right now.
Like, what mean you've been personally victimized by Regina George? Yeah. But also, Cressida acts that way because, I don't know, like, was it hurt people?
Yeah. Hurt people. It's very true. Yeah, no, her desperation definitely had her make some bad choices. She made some bad choices out of her desperation, but
It's just, I was rooting for her.
Yeah.
I was at the beginning, but like, I don't know. She just did not go about it a good way. She did not think through her plan very well.
I love that the actress is just so sweet.
She is. Yeah, I've been like keep getting a whole bunch of like interview stuff popping up on like my For You things on Instagram and whatnot. Yeah. They're all so sweet and adorable.
Yeah. She is just the sweetest person, and she's so pretty and tall.
Mm-hmm.
Just, good for you.
I feel like she had some of like the most elaborate gowns.
Yeah, and I heard her hair. They had her hair a certain way to kind of, because she was so pretty, and I think they were like trying to make it to where she wasn't, and so they gave her these like weird hairstyles. But
the crazy hairstyles, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, almost all of them I think wore like wigs probably for a good amount of that stuff.
Yeah.
It looked like Colin was wearing a wig too.
Oh, he might have been. I don't know. He did have some kind of luscious long hair there for a little bit.
I would love to be an extra on this show and get dressed up in those gowns.
Right.
I do like the difference of Anthony in the first season, like how rough he looked, and then how he cleaned up to get and then he's like, you can see he relaxed a little bit. He's still cleaned up, but he relaxed a little bit when he's married, and it's just like, oh,
yeah.
I love his like the way they changed him.
Yeah, his transition's good.
Yeah,
just give us a sequel with Kate and Anthony. That's all I want.
We need a sequel with Kate and Anthony in India because that's where they're going to have their baby. And Edwina's there with her husband.
Edwina is the cutest.
So did Edwina went back to India, or did she get the prince?
She went back to India.
So yeah, in the show she went back to India.
Okay. Yeah, she didn't get the prince.
Oh, because I remember them talking about something.
Yeah, they did try to set it up that where the queen's like, so since you're not marrying Anthony, I do have a nephew or whatever that's a prince. So they set it up that way. But then, Kate's like, oh, I got a letter from Edwina from back home. So her sister went back to India.
Wouldn't Edwina and the prince be the most precious couple?
Yes, I do. I'm glad Edwina's like happy and that she's back in India. But yeah, I think it would have been cute to have the callback to that prince from the first season.
They would be just...
It'd be adorable. Everyone in this damn show is just freaking gorgeous and cute.
Yeah.
Like I love Kate. Kate is...
Me too.
I'm obsessed with her.
Because we're all older sisters and we get it.
I guess so. I am obsessed with Kate.
Yeah.
I love Kate so much.
Yeah,
Even
I'm
in
not
the book,
too
I liked her.
a big fan. I don't like the tension so much when it comes to like, slow burns, but I really loved season 2 as well.
Yeah. They're just such good actors. Like I believed their hate and their tension. And then like his line is one of my favorites of the entire show. The like, you're the what is it? The bane of my
existence. Yeah.
But the object of all my desires. Yeah.
Yes.
I fucking love that line so much.
That was another thing about this season. We didn't get our line.
I did hear that. I heard that we didn't get our line. And I was trying to, I'd have to rewatch it, honestly. I don't know if obviously it wasn't a big grand thing like the first and second season, but he had to have said something, right?
Even in Queen Charlotte, there were some quotable moments.
Yeah, like I will help you between heaven and earth or something like that.
Yes,
Charlotte.
Everyone on TikTok was doing that scene.
Yeah.
And then everyone was crying because George said you did not go over the wall.
Oh yeah.
Or George would be like, you are a rare jewel, and things like that. And it's just like,
Yeah.
And, Simon in season 1, I burned for you.
Mm-hmm. Burned for you.
Oh my god.
Yes.
There wasn't any moment like that in this season.
Yeah, there really wasn't.
Mm-mm.
And maybe that is because they were jumping around to a bunch of different
I feel like
storylines.
the only thing
maybe.
I didn't like was because I feel like there was a lot going on in season 3, and I feel like that's probably one of the reasons why I'm like, this wasn't as good as the other ones. But I think it's just because there was so much.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I liked it, but at season 2, I love season 2 a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I
See,
loved Queen Charlotte.
Yes.
I have some mixed feelings about Queen Charlotte.
I loved Queen Charlotte.
Queen Charlotte made me cry at the end.
I cried at the end, like with them under the bed and stuff. But I'm sorry. That whole fucking they did my man Brimsley so dirty.
Oh, I know.
We get no conclusion. Like, where the fuck is his love? Where's he at?
I know.
We get literally no like conclusion with that. Like, it just has him dancing by himself, and I'm like, did he die?
I think it's implied that.
I think there's a deleted scene apparently that they did that shows that he basically chose the queen over his relationship.
I see.
Or something.
I could see that.
So
I could see that.
They mutually were like, we'll part ways to be there for, now. But yeah, I was like, oh, it's him dancing was like by himself. And I was like, oh. Her asking, like, do you have a family? And he's just like, I'm by your side.
He's like, nope, I got you.
Like, oh, I got you.
Back to Penelope.
Oh,
that scene when she's trying to run away from the balloon.
The slowest moving friggin' thing ever. It is literally, I saw someone post a thing that was like the balloon scene, and it's like that scene from oh my god, was it Austin Powers, where they're in like the big like steamroller thing, and that guy's just like no with his hand out and doesn't move.
50 feet away.
Yeah. They're like, get out of the way.
That Bob's Burgers scene when Tina like hits that car, that single car in the parking lot.
Yes.
And Bob's like, Tina, break. Tina, move on. And she's just like,
I mean, I get that she like fell, but I was like, you couldn't get back up.
I know.
And then fucking Cressida pretending like she hurt herself.
When they were in competition.
Yeah, still. Penelope didn't like fall on purpose.
Like, I know it was meant to make Colin look like manly, but it didn't do that for me.
It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous.
Like, all these men trying to pull the balloon. I'm like, okay. Like,
also, I mean, we didn't see the weather that day and be like, maybe we should reschedule.
No, they were like, this wind picked up from out of nowhere.
Right. It was like fucking Wizard of Oz or some shit.
Yeah.
It was so.
And poor Penelope be like, I like grass.
Yeah.
And then Cressida be like, those birds, Eloise, what's that bird that I like? And it's the birds that he's doing his studies on.
Yes, they actually had a connection because of that conversation. And then Penelope's like, I like grass. And made me think of like, do you like cheese?
Yeah.
My favorite is Gouda.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, and it's just like, Penelope knows how to talk to people. Like,
yeah.
And then she tries to talk to those guys, and she was just like, so.
Yeah.
Like, you know how to talk to people. Like,
yeah.
Just all of a sudden she can't.
Yeah. She gets real performance anxiety.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like,
also, you know, and to take it back to the first half, you know, is that the three guys that you're talking about that she talks to at first? And then, you know, Cressida rips her dress.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Because Cressida's a bitch.
Yeah, but then Eloise was like, what the fuck? She's like, if we're going to be friends, you got to stop being kind.
You got to stop being mean.
Sorry, can we say that on the podcast?
To do what?
Can we say the C word on the podcast?
Yeah. It's one of my favorites.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. You got to stop being that.
We are women. We are taking back power of that word.
It's a great word.
It's a fantastic word. They use it in Britain all the time. So why can't we?
Yeah. Very true. So I'm just being British.
Exactly.
You know? I have a British grandma. I'm allowed to
exactly.
say it.
You're being worldly,
yes.
okay?
Yeah. So, gosh, that balloon scene was ridiculous.
It was very ridiculous. Oh, but speaking of like ridiculous scenes from the entire show, though, I know this is supposed to be about season 3, but the Anthony falling into the water scene in season 2.
Yes!
Lord have mercy.
Well, it's a call back to the OG Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth that y'all haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Because Colin Firth goes for a swim when Elizabeth is touring his house, and he doesn't know that she's there, and she doesn't know that he's there, and she stumbles upon him dripping wet, and she's like, "Oh, Mr. Darcy!" And then she gets all like a tizzy because he's there, and then he. And she turns to her aunt and uncle and she's like, we have to go right now.
We have to leave. My body is feeling weird.
And then, of course, Darcy is like, would you like to join me for dinner? And she's like, what?
No.
And her aunt and uncle not knowing, they're like, oh, that would be lovely. And she's like, we must leave at once.
No, we gotta leave now. That's funny. I had a feeling it was a callback to something because I feel like I've seen something like that with
I need y'all to watch.
It is on my list.
So
which
good.
one?
The Pride and Prejudice miniseries with Colin Firth.
It's what the
miniseries.
It's from like 1995.
Something, yeah.
It is so good.
But yeah, I loved that scene so much.
Yeah. And she's like, don't stare. And then she's staring.
Yeah. They're both just like, ooh.
Like, girl, me too. Like, I get it. Yes.
Yes. I'm trying to think of what else.
I want Lady Danbury to take a lover.
Right?
Yeah.
It was interesting watching all of that out of order, sort of. So, like, I watched Bridgerton season 3, all of it, before I watched all of Queen Charlotte.
Okay.
And so there's a part in season 3 where Danbury like apologizes to Violet and be like, you know, the stuff with your dad. And Violet's just like,
yeah,
I know my dad was a great man. I know you're a great friend. Like, that's all I need to know. And I was like, that's fucking weird. And then I watched Queen Charlotte. And I was like, that makes sense now. I get it. I was like, what the fuck happened with her dad?
Like, I didn't think her dad was that attractive, but I did like the chemistry between the actors.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when they did hook up, it wasn't like, ew, really? It was like, okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
But I don't need to have like a full storyline with a lover. Like, I just want it to be implied.
Yeah.
That Lady Danbury has lovers. Because I know she fucks.
I am glad that, like, I mean, she has to, right?
Yeah.
Or had to have. I don't know if she still is. She is older than Violet.
She's probably about 10 years older.
Okay.
Like, I know she has a bad knee, but still, like, there are ways around
There
it.
are ways, yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll get that in season 4. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll get a season 5. It's going to be about Benedict and Danbury finding love.
Yeah. I hope so. I wish there could be a Latina love interest on Bridgerton, but I don't think they're going to go for that because it's not like there were a lot of us over there during that.
Yeah, that's true.
Nice, because I've seen a lot of like TikToks being like, "When's the next Latina?" And they're like dressed up as like, "I'm ready, like whenever you want me to be."
Yeah, or there's like that one girl. She's like, if Bridgerton cast a Latina, and she's like dressed up and
yeah,
like, you know how they would in Central America at that time, and of course she just looks flawless and amazing.
I mean, it's not a far-fetched idea that they could work into the thing. Like,
actually, yeah, because I'm reading.
They've taken so many creative liberties from the book to the show. Like, they could do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the book that I read, Ana Maria and the Fox.
Mm-hmm.
She's a Mexican. She's a Mexican of Mexican aristocracy.
Okay.
Or
it was like courtesan.
Aristocracy.
Courtesan.
Huh?
Courtesan or courtesan or something. Like, is that the term when you're a woman in the courts?
I thought that meant hoe.
Does it? I thought that was a consort.
Oh, maybe.
Now I don't know.
She and her sisters are like part of Mexican aristocracy, and they go to London for political asylum.
No, you are right, Leon. It is a prostitute.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Anyway. Sorry, continue what you were saying about Maria and the Fox.
So I was just saying, I guess it's possible. Because I think it's during when Mexico is trying to gain independence from France. Like the French and Mexican War. France had something to do with Mexico. I'm not quite sure. I know that Spain definitely did, but I don't know what France had to do with it.
Yeah, all that's been too far removed from my memory.
Yeah.
I would need a refresher course.
I wouldn't mind living in the Bridgerton world because it's very stylized of what was really happening around that time.
Yeah.
It just looks so fake.
Yeah. I will say though, okay, so some things we didn't mention that I just thought about. I love like Penelope's family dynamic and relationships like getting better in this season. So like her sisters aren't completely horrible to or start to be nicer to her and whatever. And like she gives money to the housekeeper lady to like make their ball like big and extravagant. And then they're like, "Oh, Mom, thank you." And she's like, "What?" And Penelope's like, "Yeah, isn't that great? Mom like gave you all the money to have like this beautiful ball that you wanted." I was like, "Oh, so cute."
And Penelope says, like, "I'll come out as Lady Whistletown, and you can just tell that collector guy that the money came from her instead of like, So it's like, oh,
yeah. No, I love that ball. Was so cute, and the way her sisters are like, "Oh, you got this, and oh, you did that," and they're like, "Varley, oh my gosh, this is amazing." And then she's like, "Did you get?" I love how the other sister was like, "We're gonna have bugs," and I'm like, "What does that mean?" What is your definition of bugs? Because like I've heard like during I forget which time period, like people would have like little beetles that were like changed to their shirts and stuff as like jewelry, basically adornment kind of stuff, and it'd be just a little beetle walking around. And I'm like, what kind of bugs are we talking about here? And then it ends up being the butterflies, which I was like, oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Also, though, shout out to Varley. She really pulled out her event planner.
Yeah, she pulled out all the stops.
Like, she had the engagement party, they had the wedding, they had the ball for the sisters. Like, Marley really went for
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I've never seen her happier.
Definitely. That was great. And then, of course, the very, very ending, because, like, Penelope's sisters are pregnant. And then, I don't know, I guess it's supposed to be, like, a couple years or a year and some change later.
At least a year.
Yeah, because all the babies were pretty small. But, her sisters both had girls, and then Penelope had the boy. Yeah. So now Penelope's son is the next Lord Featherington.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and people were saying, like, why wouldn't he be, Lord Bridgerton? It's like, because Colin's the third son.
Yeah. Yeah, unless Anthony, Benedict, and Colin all die. And then even then, it would be, wouldn't Gregory get it?
Or it'd be Anthony's heirs.
Or Anthony's heirs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would get it?
It's like he's the third son.
Colin's never gonna see a title ever.
No. He's gonna have that family money, but he's not gonna have a title.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Overall, I was entertained.
Yeah,
by
I liked it.
Season. I think people were too harsh on it.
I agree. I think people were trying to find any problem they could with it. I do hate that we're gonna have to wait 2 years to get season 4.
Well, they were probably delayed because of the writer's strike.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Well, I think in an interview they said that they had already started filming some of season 4. But yeah, and then another one of the showrunners was like, yeah, it's probably going to be about 2 years before that comes out. And I'm like,
Because, like, season 1, nobody really came out with any critiques or anything because it was, like, a new thing and a lot of people did not know of the Bridgerton world. Season 2, people loved. And then season 3, I just think there were too many expectations. And I think the showrunners did a good job.
I did too.
Especially because, they had to tie in all those timelines. And then, the source material, I think, needed to be supported more because the main storyline, I don't think it would have been able to hold on its own.
Yeah.
And I think it was fine. I was entertained. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite season. Like, Queen Charlotte will always hold a place in my heart, but I liked it.
I do think it's funny how people that have read the books and have watched season 1 and 2 and how different those are from the books. Like, you expected something different with season 3? Like, obviously there are going to be lots of differences now.
Yeah. I liked Harry Potter, even though they changed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And I liked Outlander, even though they changed a bunch of stuff. Like, that's just the way things go, people.
It is. What about you, Elaine?
I think overall I liked the story. I just said, like, I think it was a lot of things happening that made me not enjoy it as much as, like, the other 2 seasons. But overall, I think I liked it. Okay. But definitely season 2 is my favorite. And I love the Queen Charlotte one. Probably Queen Charlotte's my favorite.
Interesting. That was okay.
Yeah.
I liked it. But it's not my favorite. Also, I just have issues with Queen Charlotte as a character in general throughout all of 3 seasons of Bridgerton. And then
I love her wigs.
I like her wig. Her wigs are crazy. They're cool. Yes. But her as a character, like, I would like to slap her.
I love Queen Charlotte so much.
I like young Queen Charlotte. I don't like older Queen Charlotte. I liked all the scenes with young Queen Charlotte.
I do like in Queen Charlotte that she's like, when she's yelling at her kids to produce an heir, she's like, "Are y'all doing it right? I showed you pictures, like diagrams." And it's like, that's exactly what Lady Danbury did to her. And I love that.
That was good.
She's just, the actress is just so good. She really just She's so good.
Yeah, so good.
Y'all have anything else? Should we give a little life
Can't think of
update?
anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm on page 52 of what is it? 816.
I don't even know what page I'm on. I think I'm still within the first. I think I reached page like 100.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, a little life. We're all struggling.
I'm on 126.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Page 126.
Finally caved and looked up the whole
Yeah, don't tell me.
synopsis of this book. And
so you know what's going to happen. Do you think that Elaine and I are going to cry?
No. Well, no.
I mean, based off of the 52 pages I have read, I don't think I'll cry. I don't like these characters at all.
You know, no spoilers, of course. But the way that this book just really, like, beats down these characters. And it just keeps getting worse. And I think if you have the context clues so far, there's you can see who in particular it could get worse for.
Yeah. I feel like this is gonna Outlander me, where I got fed up with Outlander because it was just shit after shit after shit, and I'm just like, can we stop?
Yeah, like this book does not get better.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. I mean, I didn't think it would, but
yeah.
And as I was reading the summary, like, I was just like, what? What? Like, why would you do this?
I'm so torn. I want to read whatever it is you read so I know what happens, but I'm scared I'll never read it if I do that. And I have barely put the smallest dent into this book.
So, dearest gentle reader, we will not be putting out an episode
anytime soon.
Summer.
Yeah, no.
We have developed a new goal for the end of the year.
Yeah. The goal is to read it and record it sometime before January 1st,
the end of
2025.
Yeah.
I feel like I've told so many people, and like we've said we're gonna read this book, and knowing what's coming, it might be easier for me. But then because I already know, I kind of want to be like, oh, what's the point?
Yeah. See, that's why I don't want to know. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'll make it as an excuse not to read it.
I'll take bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
Throughout the year. But oh my God.
I did have somebody DM me when I was talking about starting it, and they were like, you have to tell me what you think when you finish it, because I have a controversial take than most people. Because like I feel like everyone that reads this loves it. So I took that as that they did not find it as enthralling as other people do.
Right. I could see what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Having read the synopsis, like, yeah, I could see what they're talking about. Yeah, definitely not going to be a top rated book of mine this year.
There's parts of people like recording themselves crying. Like, if we find the page number, would you read it, Liana?
Oh,
and let us know what you think.
Oh yeah, but I think if we're if we're going to discuss this book, I think I have to read it to do the discussion justice.
If at any point while I read this book, if parts start to make me cry, I will record myself and post it for the socials.
I did mark that there was one part where I was like, oh.
Within the parts that you've already read?
I got a little, yeah, there was like one part where I was like, oh, that's like actually really sad, to where I got a little watery-eyed, but
also like just the narrative is just so run on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's parts where I'm just like,
I'm very bored.
Okay, like get to the point now. Like, do we have to elaborate on this part?
Yeah.
A stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I get to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it a good shot. It's just not.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 books I'm currently reading now, it's not the first one I'm gonna grab.
No, definitely
not.
So
I think I'll read The Morning Glory.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start that too. All right, that's our Bridgerton season 3 with sprinklings of other seasons.
Yes.
Our little life update. Y'all want to do a what this week, or we good with that?
No, the little life is like our what's this week update.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. All right. As always, thank you, listener, for joining us. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on our socials listed in the description. Email or DM us topics, questions, book recommendations. Have a lovely day and week. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.